And starting with the big story this morning, House Republicans, with approval from President Donald Trump, has released the disputed memo which Trump says would embarrass the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The controversial 4-page memo, created by Republican staffers on the House Intelligence Committee, alleges abuse of surveillance authority by the Justice Department and the FBI. President Trump went on to say that the memo highlights anti-Trump bias in the Justice Department and the FBI. But there's plenty of backlash against the memo as well. Former FBI Director James Comey tweeted after its release, saying, and I quote, "That's it. Dishonest and misleading memo wrecked the House Intel Committee, destroyed trust with intelligence community, damaged relationships with FISA court, and inexcusably exposed classified investigation of an American citizen. For what? DOJ and FBI must keep doing their jobs." Democrats have also slammed the memo as an inaccurate and misleading portrait intended to undermine Special Counselor Robert Mueller's Russia probe. U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, however, is planning to refer the declassified memo to the department's internal watchdog office for investigation. As for the man himself, this is what Trump had to say about the memo.
I think it's terrible. You want to know the truth? I think it's a disgrace. What's going on in this country, I think it's a disgrace.
Harvard graduates. Rod's had 27 years in the department. Rachel's had a number of years in the department previously. And Hill, Attorney General.
So this is the big story today about the disputed and much controversial 4-page GOP memo which the House of Republicans released after much ado and approval from the president. And it still waits to be known what exactly is so explosive on the memo. The memo was released on Friday in America, and we would like to know, what does the 4-page GOP memo majorly reveal? Well, the memo centers on court-approved wiretapping of Carter Page, who was a foreign policy advisor to the Trump campaign and was put under electronic surveillance by the FBI. The memo's biggest claim is that the then Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe told the House Intelligence Committee that no surveillance warrant would have been sought Page without a disputed opposition research dossier on Trump and Russia. The memo accuses the FBI and the Justice Department of using an unsubstantiated and Democrat-backed report to obtain the October 2016 warrant for permission to spy on Mr. Page. Earlier, we spoke to WION correspondent Kevin McCalsey from Washington, D.C. Let's see what he had to say.
We're still collecting a reaction to this long-awaited 3.5-page memo. Here it is. We're just working our way through these details, but the reporting building up to this release seems to be pretty accurate so far. We've waited a long time for this, so let me give you a readout from the very top of here, where they outline the summary of this memo. Our findings, remember, this is from the House Intelligence Committee. This is what they wrote up over the last week or two that Donald Trump gave the go-ahead for. It reads, "Our findings, which are detailed, raise concerns with the legitimacy and legality of certain DOJ and FBI interactions with the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, and we represent a troubling breakdown of legal processes established to protect the American people from abuses related to the FISA process." The FISA process being those warrants to be able to surveil US citizens. In this case, they're talking about Carter Page, former Trump campaign associate. But this has divided Washington. It is at the center of a long-running firestorm. Democrats said it was an attempt by Republican lawmakers to try and undermine the FBI, the Department of Justice, and more broadly, to degrade the value, the legitimacy of Robert Mueller's special counsel investigation into whether or not there was Russian interference and whether or not Donald Trump's campaign colluded in an attempt, along with the Kremlin, to get Donald Trump into the White House.